Don't miss emerita pianist extraordinaire Isabelle Tseng when she performs a piano recital featuring 11 works chosen in E4TT's latest call for scores. She'll play not one, but two performances online and on both sides of the Bay, in Berkeley on February 22nd and in San Francisco on March 2nd. Welcome to For Good Measure, an interview series celebrating diverse composers and other creative artists, sponsored by a grant from the California Arts Council. I'm Nanette McGuinness, Artistic Executive Director of Ensemble for these times. In this week's Lunar Module episode, we continue talking to E4TT Lunar Composition Lab Call for Scores winner, Isabelle Tseng, who we spoke to in May 2024. Do you want to tell us or tell our listeners a little bit about the piece that we selected, the Call for Scores piece?
Sure. So that piece is called Ringlorn, and I think I wrote it in 21. It's for violin and cello, and the general concept of the piece is it's a piece in two parts. The first part is kind of going for a reminiscence to a time in which people had like nightly adventures. Nightly with like a K, like KNIGHT.
I was like,
yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, fine.
Yeah. And when I was a kid, I watched like Chinese like wuxia, like adventure movies, which essentially consists of a lot of people flying around, like fighting each other and kind of having a very adventurous way with the world. And kind of, I think the concept of jianghu is kind of also like one, fighting alongside your comrades, but also like I think in a way it's a very freeing like life experience because all of the movies, basically the idea is you make a friend and your friend and you are really good friends, and then you are like freely roaming the earth with your exceptional like combatant abilities.
Yeah. Right. No, it sounds great and ideal, right? What's not to love about you get a buddy and you can do anything and it's a fantasy and you're powerful in whatever your power is and you go help people and do things.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like a really like awesome vibe. I think it almost has like a Robin Hood vibe to it as well, because a lot of it is like do what you think is right, like no matter what is right or whatever, and then I found that like always really cool as a kid. And I think when I wrote this piece, the first part was kind of like a more heroic reminiscence of that idea. Actually, the word ringlorn actually, let me get the exact definition.
I was going to ask you what it meant in terms of the music and the context. So yeah, thank you for looking that up.
Yeah, the exact definition of the word is the wish that the modern world felt as epic as the one depicted in old stories and folk tales, a place of tragedy and transcendence, of oaths and omens and fates, where everyday life felt like a quest for glory.
While you're looking there, does it show any etymology or when the word was started or derived? Does it say anything?
I think it's like between 2009 and now.
I'm going to look it up too. The Ringlor Saga is an adventure RPG inspired by Japanese PC classics. I wonder if that's where the term came from.
Huh. And then the second movement is about kind of the more melancholy view of it. It's a lot slower. It has glisses and it's kind of like has a lot more rounded corners. And it kind of ends also with like a kind of tail end of the very beginning of the second movement. So I think there's a lot more long lines, very melodic vibe. And it's very line based in the violin and cello, and they interact a lot in comparison to the first movement, which is a lot. Well, it's similarly line based, but it's a lot more sharp-edged. I think if you hear the piece, you'll get the vibe. Yeah.
I know the piece. You submitted the second movement. I don't think you submitted the first movement. I think you just submitted the second, probably because of our time restriction.
Yeah.
And the second one is the one we performed, and your description is lovely. Yeah. It's a wonderful concept, and we liked the piece. You've talked a little bit about mentors and interests and influences. Are there others you'd like to talk about?
I think so my sister also played the violin when I was a kid, and then still plays violin. Like, wow, she's awesome. She's my sister Claire. I think she's always like my ear. Like, whenever I write a lot of stuff and I'm like, I like it, but I can't tell if it's just because it's like my baby or not. Like, right. It's like the same idea. Like, when I cook, I always think my food tastes like amazing, but in reality, it might not. So, my sister's my best sanity checker. Yes. And I think oftentimes I send something to her and go like, what do you think about this? And then she's like, living her best PhD life right now, but she takes time out of her busy schedule to always lend in here.
So she's older than you?
Yeah, she's 5 years older.
Okay, got it. So that's wonderful, and nice that you have that relationship with her. So anything else we didn't talk about? I didn't ask, stuff you'd like to tell the listeners or anything?
Follow my work at isabelletseng.com.
Wait. Yeah. That's fine. Say it again really clearly so that we can.
Okay. Is spelled ISABELLEZTSENG.com. And then you can hear all the works I talked about on the podcast, and also some other interesting things.
So we should all go there, follow you, follow your work. Sounds good. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much again for writing the wonderful piece and for joining us for the podcast for this conversation.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for listening to For Good Measure. And a special thank you to our guest, Isabelle Tseng, for joining us today. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our podcast by clicking on the subscribe button and support us by sharing it with your friends, posting about it on social media, and leaving us a rating and a review. To learn more about E4TT, our concert season online and in the Bay Area, or to make a tax-deductible donation, please visit us at e4tt.org. This podcast is made possible in part by a grant from the California Arts Council and generous donors like you. For Good Measure is produced by Nanette McGuinness and Ensemble for These Times and designed by Brennan Stokes, with special thanks to co-producer and audio engineer Stephanie M. Neumann. Remember to keep supporting equity in the arts and tune in next week for Good Measure.